Here is the answer. Straight up. The first real meal ever eaten in space was pureed food squeezed from a tube, swallowed by Soviet cosmonaut German Titov aboard Vostok 2 in August 1961. But the first food to cause an actual scandal was a corned beef sandwich, and it got smuggled aboard Gemini 3 on March 23, 1965. Loose crumbs floated through the cabin, and within weeks the United States Congress was holding a hearing about a sandwich. Space food history is stranger than the rockets that carried it. 3 foods, 3 true stories. A smuggled sandwich, a drink NASA never invented, and a secret communion on the surface of the moon. Gemini 3 carried 2 men, Commander Gus Grissom and pilot John Young. Before launch, fellow astronaut Wally Schirra bought a corned beef sandwich on rye at Wolfie's, a deli in Cocoa Beach, Florida, and quietly slipped it to Young. About 2 hours into the flight, Young reached into his spacesuit pocket and pulled it out. He offered it to Grissom, who took a single bite. Then the rye bread started breaking apart. Crumbs drifted everywhere in zero gravity, and both men worried the pieces could float into the switches and instruments. Young tucked the sandwich away. The whole flight lasted just 4 hours and 52 minutes across 3 orbits, but the sandwich outlived the mission. NASA was embarrassed, and Congressman George Shipley grilled agency officials in a House budget hearing. NASA promised it would never happen again. Almost everyone believes NASA invented Tang. They did not. A General Foods chemist named William Mitchell formulated the orange powder in 1957, and it reached grocery shelves in 1959, years before any astronaut tasted it. Mitchell was a strange kind of genius who later invented Pop Rocks candy and Cool Whip too. At first, Tang barely sold. Then NASA started carrying it into orbit, and by 1965 it was standard issue on the Gemini missions. Suddenly, the powder was the official drink of astronauts, and sales shot up. But the space program never created Tang. It just handed a slow-selling drink mix, the greatest marketing story on Earth, and off it. On July 20th, 1969, right after the Eagle landed and before he ever stepped outside, Buzz Aldrin did something almost no one knew about. He was an elder at Webster Presbyterian Church in Texas, and his pastor, Dean Woodruff, had given him a tiny communion kit, a small chalice, a sip of wine, and a wafer of bread. Aldrin kept it quiet on purpose. Months earlier, activist Madalyn Murray O'Hair had sued NASA after the Apollo 8 crew read from the Book of Genesis on live television. So Aldrin only radioed a request for a moment of silence. Then he poured the wine, which curled slowly up the side of the cup in 1/6 gravity, and read a line from the Gospel of John. The first food and drink ever taken on the moon were communion bread and wine. Webster Church still holds a lunar communion service every July, so the true history of eating in space runs on contraband and secrets. A smuggled sandwich that reached the halls of Congress. A drink NASA got the credit for but never made. And a quiet communion, bread and wine, hidden on the surface of the moon. The rockets got the headlines. The food got the better stories. Come back soon, because there is new food history every week.